Tron Ares is now out. Is it any good? Let's talk about it.
Hang on!
So this is the first Tron movie since Tron Legacy, which was released 15 years ago. That feels like a lifetime ago. And that was actually my first Tron movie that I ever watched. It was many years ago when I watched it for the first time, but I've seen it many other times. I liked it on the first watch, but now at my age that I am now, I think it's an amazing movie. I love that so much. I like to watch it at least, 2, 3 times a year. And I actually did watch the original Tron for the first time last month. And I was overall mixed on that one. It's a cool thing that was made back in the day with all the advancements that movie had. The story of that movie, though, it's not great. I like the story of Legacy a little bit more. I like the characters in Legacy, and the music in Legacy is, of course, better. But it's awesome what that movie did for, technical advancements in the film world. And now we are here with Tron Ares after 15 years, the third Tron movie. And there's, of course, some TV shows that I haven't watched. And I gotta say, wow, this was a crazy experience in theaters because I ended up seeing this at an early screening in 40X in 3D, and my senses were going crazy with how much I was being tossed around in those seats. I mean, 40X is crazy. I mean, I don't go there often. I go like 2 times, 3 times a year. If it's an early screening, I'll go to it in 40X. I'm not really a fan of it because the seats aren't really comfortable and it just kind of throws me off when I'm watching the movie, when it just throws me around. But I do hope to see this again in IMAX 3D because I want to see that expanded ratio, and I think IMAX just looks better. It's a bigger screen. The 3D though was pretty good. It's not really like amazing like Avatar 3D, but I liked it. I think it worked pretty good for a Tron movie. But you're probably wondering, how was this movie on a quality level? And I have to say, I liked it more than I thought I would because ultimately I thought I was going to hate it. The trailers weren't doing too much for me. It takes place mostly in the real world, while Tron Legacy takes place like 90% on the grid. So I thought I was going to hate it. I didn't end up hating it. It's pretty watchable. It has issues, but it also has great parts. I'll say though, if you're a big Tron fan, you'll probably walk away enjoying this one, hoping for a sequel, because I sure am, especially with what they teased in the ending. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is one mid-credit sequence that teases something also pretty cool. And if you're not a big Tron fan, I think this will also be pretty watchable for you. You don't have to watch any of the other previous Tron movies to understand this one, but it would be nice to watch, the first one, but also Tron Legacy because it is such an amazing film. Let's first talk about the visuals of this movie, because if you're going into a Tron movie, you're mostly going to go in for the CGI, the amazing colors that are on screen, and just the whole entire visual element that you're going to be seeing. And I thought that they're amazing here. It's not as good as Tron Legacy because you're not really in the grid that long, which I was kind of upset about. You needed much more of the grid because when you were on the grid in this movie, it's feeling like Tron and you really have that amazing feeling in your chest. I loved everything in the grid. We go to a couple different grids in this one. You go to Dillinger's grid, you go to Encom grid, and then you go to the 80s grid, which was shown in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. But we do spend a lot of the time when we are in the grid in the Dillinger grid, which is the all red one. That one has some really cool moments. There's like a water bike chase sequence that was awesome. I thought that looked pretty cool. And the one in Encom's grid, there's not a lot of time spent there. The one in the 80s grid though, that was awesome. It's really cool to see that one, especially with the technological advancements that we have today, and they made it look like what it did in the original Tron. But yeah, there's not a lot of time spent in the grid. We're mostly in the real world, and the stuff in the real world looks pretty good also. It's not amazing like the other stuff. The light cycles in the real world are pretty cool. There's a nice chase sequence there. Seeing the recognizers in the real world is also pretty cool because the scale is pretty massive. I loved how they got the scale right. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. The VFX team did an incredible job, but just I wish we spent more time on the grid. Something that we don't go into a Tron movie for is the story, and that's because it's usually pretty weak. This one doesn't have the greatest story. It's the weakest part, especially since you had to introduce a lot of new characters instead of just using Sam and Core from Legacy. You have Eve Kim in this one. You have Julian Dillinger. You have basically Ares in this one. So some big exposition dumps are in here. Basically, the beginning of the movie is a whole exposition dump. And, you know, I didn't mind it personally, but I know a lot of people that are going to hate it. It's also, the plot is also surrounded by a plot MacGuffin that had to be retrieved by the end of the movie. Now, I wasn't really a big fan of that. I don't really like MacGuffins that much. I wish the writing here was better. It definitely needs to be improved if we get a sequel to this. But you're not going to go into a Tron movie for the story, because the one in the original is pretty lackluster. A Legacy story isn't great. But this one, I think, has the weakest story of the 3 Tron movies. For the cast, we have to talk about Jared Leto first, and I know a lot of people hate him, but we still have to talk about him because this man is basically the reason why we have another Tron movie, because he's a huge fan of this series. I think he produced this movie, probably put a lot of money into it for him. And I don't hate him as an actor. I don't really care about him as a person though, but as an actor, I think he's pretty good. I like his role in Blade Runner 2049, Dallas Buyers Club. Some other roles are pretty good, but yeah, as a person, he's not that great. But I'm going to talk about him as an actor in this movie and his character Ares. I thought his character was pretty good. He has a nice arc in here. It's not a great character though, because the writing isn't that good. Jared Leto's performance is decent. It's kind of hard to grade the performance of what's supposed to be a program, so I don't really know what to say there. But I liked his arc from the beginning to the end. And then we have Greta Lee, who I think is great in this movie. I love her as an actress. Ever since I saw Past Lives, I've just been really into what she's been doing. She is easily the best character in this movie as Eve Kim, one of the 2 sisters that took over Incom after Sam basically stepped down from Incom. That's basically in the exposition dump right there. And yeah, I really enjoyed her character here. She's basically looking for the MacGuffin for the whole movie. I'm not going to really say what the MacGuffin is because it isn't revealed in the plot. But yeah, I love Greta Lee. I just want her to be in everything. I gotta watch The Morning Show. I've heard some good things about that. Heard that she's also in that. But yeah, she's awesome in this movie. Evan Peters plays the villain in this movie, Julian Dillinger. I thought he was also pretty great. He needed more to do though, because outside of, pretty much talking, he doesn't really do too much. He's basically the computer man in this one, kind of just a yelling role. But I do love him here. He's playing like a whiny little teen. I did want him in a Tron suit though, because we got to see Greta Lee in a Tron suit for a decent amount of the film. We don't really get to see Evan Peters in a Tron suit in this movie. Jeff Bridges has a role in here. It's very small, but it was nice to see him back. And his old grid, as I said, was really cool to see. 9 Inch Nails did the score for this one, and I thought it was pretty great, with some of the music being amazing in the film and some of it being pretty forgettable. So it mostly equals out to a great score for me. It's not as good as the Daft Punk score for Tron Legacy, but I mean, nothing ever will be. That's one of the best scores of all time in my eyes. So you can't really go into this expecting a better score than that, because you really can't compare the two. Overall, Tron Ares is a decent sequel in the Tron franchise, but if we do end up getting another movie after this one, there needs to be a better story and scripts, because this one was very weak. The visuals were of course top notch, with everything in the grid being phenomenal, but I do wish we got to spend longer in the grid, because 80% of this movie were in the real world, which was pretty disappointing to see. Jared Leto was pretty good, while Greta Lee and Evan Peters are the real standouts of the film, and the 9 Inch Nails score is also pretty good. I'm going to give Tron Ares a 6.5 out of 10, and I do plan to rewatch this one again. If you saw Tron Ares, leave your own thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you thought about it. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like, as it is free to do so and helps it a lot. And if you want to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button. But that's going to be it for today. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.